Harry Potter and the Church. Needless to say, the relationship has been
Harry Potter would have been put to death. You don't make heroes out of warlocks.
tense. Organized book burnings, nationwide bans, and I even heard a story of a child in a Christian orphanage with nothing left in the world but his Harry Potter books who was forced to burn them because they promoted witchcraft. What is it about our own imaginations that could be so terrifying? I had a very active imagination as a child. I also happened to live in a house with 9 kids, so keeping track of me was impossible. One step outside, and I was in another universe so real and vivid that it was almost indistinguishable from reality. Like many children, my imagination was easily swept off into the world of fiction. Naturally, the stories I liked best were about knights and quests and slaying dragons. They were about King Arthur, Luke Skywalker, and of course, Harry Potter. As soon as the new Harry Potter book was available in the library, it was a mad rush to be the first one to check it out. Unfortunately, I was told these books were satanic witchcraft and I was never allowed to read them. Of course, the fact that the books were forbidden only made them that much more attractive. I read them anyway, hiding them all around the house and getting caught all the time.
Mr. Smith? Oh yeah, just masturbating!
The books clearly accomplished something amazing. They had 5th graders reading 5, 6, and 700-page books, and my own love for reading to this day can be traced back to that time in my life. In my 11-year-old mind, I simply couldn't understand how something which provided me with so much joy and wonder could be evil. I've come to believe that it is precisely the amount of joy we received that caused this kind of backlash, and it is not hard to see why. What are we doing when we get lost in a novel? It is more than just fantasy and escapism. We are creating detailed images in our mind, bringing them to life, and blurring the lines between fantasy and reality. That is magic. Like, seriously. Getting that immersed in something is truly a religious experience. And unfortunately, it's all too common the church is in the business of preventing religious experience rather than mediating it. Look closely and you will see, at its core, the Harry Potter series is about a religious transformation. A tyrannical king becomes paranoid about a new miracle child. The child is then driven out of the magical kingdom only to return later as the savior. Sound familiar? Both were crucified for telling people a truth they did not want to hear. Both willingly faced death to save the ones they loved, and both died and were reborn. The story of Harry Potter is as old as time. It is the endless battle of good versus evil. When Adam and Eve ate of the tree of knowledge, the tension of opposites came into being, and it became apparent that the key to heaven lied in renouncing, ignoring, and suppressing our most base and evil desires. But that which we suppress does not simply go away. Voldemort is a clear representation of the Jungian shadow. Carl Jung stated that we all have a persona. This is the mask that we put on for the world. It encompasses all those traits we deem worthy and socially acceptable. Then we have the shadow, the part of ourselves we hide from the world, the basement of our psyche which stores every repressed memory and every skeleton of our past. These disowned parts of ourself are extremely valuable and cannot be discarded without a cost. If channeled properly, they can fill our life with meaning. If ignored, they will always find a way to express themselves, often in unforeseen and destructive ways. We all have a two-sided nature. Voldemort is the other side of Harry, and their lives are inescapably woven together. But it is emphasized time and again that it was the choices Harry made that set them apart. Voldemort is often translated as flight from death. That is what everyone does. They refuse to speak his name, refuse to acknowledge their own two-sided nature, refuse to see the darkness that exists within themselves. Everyone refuses to look, except for Harry. In his first 2 encounters with the face of evil, he can only look at it indirectly, first as a reflection, then as nothing more than a memory in a diary. While he meets the face of evil courageously, he is clearly outmatched. This is a part of himself he does not yet understand. 3 words in the Goblet of Fire change everything. Up to this point, these were childlike adventure stories where the hero always conquered. This all changes when Harry has his first direct look into the face of evil. He sees death, an experience which changes him completely. He now sees the world in a way his friends cannot, something which causes him to question himself and his sanity. But confrontation with the shadow is actually what guides Harry's life. He sets his aim to become an Auror and to join the Order of the Phoenix. It provides his life with purpose and meaning. The strongest parts of himself, his capacity for love and friendship, are discovered in his most vulnerable moments. Those who are reading Harry in the Bible are experiencing the same thing. There's a reason the death and rebirth theme has survived in our storytelling for thousands of years. It speaks to something deeply embedded within the human experience, and it is the reason the story of a young wizard has been able to successfully reach the hearts and minds of billions of people.